afternoon, and thanks for joining us here on Midday Live. I am Wendy Laya. Headlines for this afternoon. Chiefs call for military post at Sankore in the Sunafo North and South districts of the Bono Ahafo region to curb political violence. Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors calls on government to find mitigating solutions to fuel price hikes. Allied Health Professions Council want quick employment for their professionals. Kidney diseases take high toll on hundreds of sufferers. On international front, jihadists killed 12 villagers in Mozambique. I've got details of these stories and many more lined up. Let's start with one of our headline stories now. And the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyo Hosi, has cautioned the NPP and NDC to stop politicizing the fuel price hikes. He blamed the recent fuel price increase on the crude oil price on the world market, taxes, as well as the depreciation of the cedi. But the ranking member on Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament, Adam Mutawakilu, says that the current government should abolish the special petroleum taxes to reduce the hardship on Guineans.
Our prices are a function of world activity, world prices, our exchange rates, and our tax regime. These are the things that determine where our prices will always stand. The market margins are significantly controlled by competition. That's why you're not paying 5.4 or 5.39 as the MP would have estimated. The dishonesty of these of our Ghanaian politicians is not helping anybody.
But where is the dishonesty?
It is dishonest. One, what did you have when the SPT was coming? MPP busting it left, right, center. Meanwhile, they knew the issues. It's not rocket science. You just need a first degree economics to be able to understand why a need for a thing like that. All right. I was part of the people who engineered the idea of the SPT. All right. And I'll defend it again today. But what do you have? The NDCs come to attack, but they also have the data. What was petroleum revenue in 2015? 1.4 billion. 2016, 900 million cedis. 2017, 1.5 billion. We are in 2018 half year. The Bank of Ghana is reporting half year we raised $463 million. Out of this, 215 has to go to our Stabilization and Heritage Fund. It is not available for budgetary consumption. So all you have is just on 200.
We must declare some are internal factors that are influential. And he indicated it, exchange rate. If you are not able to jail the exchange rate as Dr. Baumia is chasing, looking for it to imprison now, it will translate to well prices. Taxes will.
So poor management of the economy is at the heart
factor
of all of this.
No, thank you. And that is why we, the minority, are always clear. When the special petroleum tax came to Parliament, the MPP then made it clear that when they come to power, they will scrap it. It is on the Hansard. It's very clear. The media captured it.
And it has not been scrapped.
And when it came to Parliament, yes, every budget, you normally give what we call the benchmark price. The government tells the people of Ghana how the price at which they will sell our oil or our crude oil to the world market. And then the quantity they expect to sell. In the course of the year, it could be higher or lower, the actual price. Now, the 2040 came because of the drastic decline in the price of crude oil.
You're still watching Midday Live. Away from that story, and the makeshift market at Mamobi, which has a sewage water from a public toilet running through it, is to be pulled down for reconstruction by the Ayawaso Municipal Assembly. This follows a visit to the market called Kaswa Kuda by the Municipal Chief Executive Mohammed Aminu Zakari during his familiarization tour. This is Kaswa Kuda, otherwise known as Housefly Markets, located in the heart of Mamibi in Accra. Most items are on sale here at Kaswa Kuda, but under very unhygienic conditions. Food items are on display here, close to the filth. This is sewage water from a public toilet, which constantly runs through the center of the market. Yet traders do business with careless abandon. People defecate in the open around the market, even though the public toilet is close by. The Municipal Chief Executive for Ayawaso North, Mohammed Aminu Zakari, explained his displeasure at conditions at the market.
We will constitute a task force to stop the flow of what? The liquid waste. We will use any means legal to stop the person who operates the toilet facility.
He outlined plans to give the market a facelift.
Yes, we need to expand the market to certain level. By so doing, it will be a source of what? Revenue for the assembly to be able to do most of its activities.
Earlier, traders complained about a number of problems, including people who they claim constituted themselves as landlords and demand rent from them even though the parcel of land belongs to government. To some other stories, and the Paramount Chief of Jamestown, Ingleshi Alata, says he intends to establish a fisheries school at Jamestown to train the youth in modern fishing methods and practices. Outlining his strategic development plan, Oblimpong Wichekojo noted educating the youth was one sure way to improve the lot of the people.
The people of Jamestown will live a happy and fulfilled life if there are jobs, especially for the youth. In this regard, it is my plan to lead the modernization of fishing in Jamestown, since quite a chunk of the inhabitants are fishermen and fishmongers. In this global technological era of the 21st century, the fishing industry have long said goodbye to canoe fishing and the obsolete methods of preservation and marketing. Fishing is a major vocation in Jamestown and will see a major transformation under my reign. It is my intention to establish a fishing school to educate the youth in modern fishing methods and practices to keep fishing alive and vibrant, and to establish a fishing company.
The Jamestown Mancher, known in private life as Dr. Prince William Ashley Bruce Quay, stated sanitation and security will be paramount during his leadership. He promised to set up a Jamestown Development Agency to facilitate and accelerate the development of the traditional area. He underscored the need for the township to leverage on its tourist attractions for the benefit of his people and the entire country.
I intend to push for the refurbishment of the old harbour and assist in the rehabilitation of old buildings. Jamestown also has a beachfront, which will be exploited for the good of the inhabitants and visitors. It is my intention to lead the crusade for the development of the beach into a world-class recreational area. To this end, a Jamestown Tourist Development Company will be set up to coordinate all tourism-related activities.
Jamestown is a cosmopolitan mix of people. The town developed after the construction of James Fort by the British in 1674.
It's one of our headline stories, and the Registrar of the Allied Health Professions Council has described as worrying the constant delay in employing allied health professionals after completing school. Dr. Samuel Yawopoko says despite the shortage of staff in various health institutions, the health professionals sometimes stay at home unemployed for 3 years. He was speaking at the 6th induction and oath swearing in ceremony for allied graduates in Kumasi. Dr. Samuel Yawopu stressed on the importance of allied health officials in the provision of in-quality healthcare delivery. He wants the government to address the challenge of delays in employing the professionals considering the shortage of health staff in the country.
A visit to our health facilities points to acute shortage of these highly trained professionals. I'm therefore making a passionate appeal to the government through the Honourable Regional Minister to address this critical issue so that the population will benefit from the services of these people whose education was largely funded by the taxpayers' money.
Addressing the graduates, a hematologist at Cath, Professor Clement Opoku Okra, said for Ghana to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, it needs to prioritize on making quality healthcare accessible to all.
Progress in health is dependent on economic, social, and environmental progress. Well over a dozen targets in other goals can be considered health-related and should be given special attention in strategies, policies, and plans to achieve the health goal and in monitoring progress.
The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei Mensah urged health workers to resort to dialogue instead of strikes to get their grievances addressed. He entreated the Allied Health Professions Council to take steps to team up to address the issue of quacks in the system.
I'm aware of some major challenges that often face you people, especially in the process of health delivery. However, and I wish to plead with you that irrespective of all these challenges, government is always prepared to dialogue and also expects same from all sectors of our working population.
The minister implored the graduates to accept postings to serve in the rural areas where their service is needed the most. 1,120 students graduated. More on healthcare this afternoon. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people with varying kidney diseases in Ghana are dying slowly because they cannot afford healthcare. And the cost of kidney transplant in India is between $30,000 to $35,000 and $100,000 to $200,000 in the United States.
The function of the kidney is to collect natural waste from the blood, which gathers in the bladder as urine and is expelled very quickly from the body. Failure to rid the system of this toxic waste can be injurious to the bladder and the kidneys. High blood pressure, poor blood supply, obstructed outflow of blood due to stones in the bladder, or prostate, diabetes, and hypertension are external problems that can impact adversely on your kidneys. Dialysis is a transitional point to kidney transplantation. The ideal session for a dialysis patient is 3 times a week. In Ghana, a session costs 260 cedis currently. The cost of dialysis is expensive for the majority of Ghanaians. Dialysis Services Foundation has been launched to provide subsidized or full payment for dialysis treatment to needy members of the community so that these patients will not be deprived of treatment due to financial difficulties. The board chairman of the foundation and former chief of staff, Prosper Bani, stressed the need to help families who cannot afford the treatment.
People with chronic kidney diseases are like orphans. They are left to themselves. The day your family cannot afford that 250 or 260 Ghana cedis for your dialysis, it means that they'll start preparing your funeral. It is scary.
A member of the foundation's board, Dela Agbo, said the foundation would encourage the setting up of a donor registry and sponsor donors' transplants.
When you're on dialysis for life. Your kidney, if it's not able to come back within 2 or 3 dialysis, it's obviously it may not come back again. So eventually you have to do transplant. And that is why we believe in also promoting the donor registry.
The foundation has called on corporate organizations and the general public to help in raising a total amount of 2.5 million Ghana cedis to provide the basic treatment required to survive kidney disease.
Now let's concentrate on breast cancer. And over 4,650 women in the country are diagnosed with breast cancer annually, according to Global Commie Research Unit of the World Health Organization. The figure has seen an increase of 2,062 cases recorded by 2010 by that same organization. Here's a report by Benjamin Edu.
The figure indicates breast cancer cases among women in the country is on an alarming increase. Breast cancer is the most common cancer that affects women and the most common cause of cancer deaths in Ghana. The disease involves a growth of abnormal cells in the breast. Early detection and treatment help save lives. As part of activities for the homecoming event of Kumasi High School, a breast screening exercise was organized for residents around the school's community. President of Breast Care International, Dr. Beatrice Wiafiadai, said the key to success treatment of breast cancer lies in its early detection.
Our people are aging. Our life expectancy rate has increased from 49 years to 63 now. So a lot of cancers to go with age. So we are likely to get a lot of people developing cancer as we wish ourselves to grow old. And from the research that came, breast cancer happens to be number 1, cervical cancer is number 2, and prostate cancer is the number 1 among men.
A member of the planning committee of the Kumasi High School homecoming, Lydia Martin, was impressed with the outcome of the screening.
As the committee met, we were thinking of the programs to do, and we said, look, let's not be selfish. Let's consider the women in society, our mothers, our sisters, to include them in this celebration. So we thought of breast screening, freely sponsored by Imrantie and co-sponsored by Peace and Love Hospital. And it has really been successful. The impact has been great.
70% of persons between the ages of 15 and 35 in Ghana are at risk of substance abuse. Medical practitioner and clinical health psychologist Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur made this known in Accra and called on the Food and Drugs Authority to intensify surveillance in a bid to clamp down on the abuse and the sale of illicit drugs and tramadol among the youth. Medical experts say the abuse of tramadol, a pain relief drug, can cause psychotic problems as well as cause damage to vital human organs. The drug, despite being prescription only, is sold and used indiscriminately by young people in Ghana. As part of efforts to raise awareness about the dangers of drug abuse, the youth wing of Satellite Methodist Church in Accra has held a program dubbed Goberfest 2018. Speaking at the program, medical practitioner and clinical health psychologist Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur expressed concern at the growing illicit trade in tramadol by unlicensed pharmacists.
Anybody we find using tramadol, we have to just match the person to the pharmacy or the person who sold the tramadol to that person, and the person should be prosecuted.
He called on persons battling with addiction to seek medical help.
The people involved, they need help to be able to overcome those addictions. And there are psychiatrists, psychologists, we have counselors, we have psychiatric nurses, and people in the health profession who have been trained to deal with those problems.
Mental health nurse and second runner-up of last year's Ghana's Most Beautiful pageant, Baba Boche, also called for more awareness creation about the dangers of drug abuse.
When you have a lot of information concerning something, you go out there and then deliver well. And also you're able to understand the condition that people find themselves in and then not to judge them, but rather help them out of it.
Other speakers at the program cautioned the youth against indulging in social vices. And now to politics. A newly appointed director of communications of the New Patriotic Party, Yao Boabing Asamoah, has assured party faithful of a collaborative communication strategy which will ensure the inclusion of foot soldiers and party serial callers. His comments follows a strike by serial callers of the ruling MPP in the Ashanti region who complained of neglect but have since called off their strike. He spoke exclusively to Selom Amenya.
The party announced the appointment of deputy national officers and directors to help in its day-to-day running for the next 4 years. The Member of Parliament for the Adentan constituency, Yao Boabing Asamoah, is now the new Director of Communications. Speaking to TV3, Yao Boabing Asamoah, who was deputy to Nana Kumia, reassured party members of restructuring the communication strategy to meet the demands of the era.
Once we've sorted out the structure, going forward, it should be simple to establish collaborative structures. Yes, you have a government. Government communicates. Then you have party. Party communicates. And indeed, you also have parliament. We are a huge majority in parliament. So parliament also communicates. So you have three arms who are all communicating. Government comes, parliamentary comes, party comes. So naturally, if we don't collaborate and sync, we will have problems.
Serial callers of the NPP in the Ashanti region on Wednesday, September 19, called off their week-long strike after a meeting with executives of the party who promised to resolve their grievances. The Adentan legislator maintained an all-inclusive communication strategy is best to ensure foot soldiers and serial callers are not left behind.
We expect that we will have a better appreciation of what the government is doing. Party Coms is here to support the government. So we expect that now that we are well positioned as a party, we'll get better quality inputs from the government in terms of information, in terms of flow, in terms of feedback. And through that process, foot soldiers will feel more included. Once they are more included, their views are being taken into account. They will then be able to also project the party better at local level. I think there are good times ahead.
He's confident Wednesday's appointment has set the party on a new pedestal for a more synchronized communication.
While the government is information, don't forget that it is stripping the party of personnel, of people and all that. So the party gets a bit, in the doldrums. Then when the government completes its formation, the party then goes into the process of restructuring itself through elections and otherwise. And in that period, again, there's turbulence and there's lack of clarity about what the party is, who is in charge of what, and what it does. That is what we've been seeing. And we've gone through all that, and then about a month and a half, 2 months ago, we had our national elections, which then consolidated the party. So what we saw yesterday was a completion of that process.
You're still watching Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. To one of our headline stories this afternoon, and chiefs and opinion leaders in the Sunafo North and South District of the Bunafo region have unanimously called for the establishment of a military post at Sankore to curb the recurrence of politically motivated violence in that area. We bring your reports by Larry Pakwesi Moses.
We ba no be no kontian kopim da bay na san ko mai ho beto ye ti asundua ye peni asundua ye peni na senka wa die na ofia dia dia na sa transfer ato ewo no sabi ntekuma akwatra se etonku ene wo mu di ka ye wo mu we na me de bia me kasa de no ntwe dua anka ne to no nka obofo nsam da emre bi ba se hunu bia ene kosi sen sa na bre bi so beba ya de ni hwe ya drase mani ni dia na me fra na na se bi nkonwa se mu ene otisa nko dia konwa kra yimu na na cho kra ye timi bomba yanko ne yanko tu na na no sanko ma ye no obi dia ya kan na mo bia so ati pen sanko ne politicians dia ya na na no be chichiri krai ya ba na ma no kro bia ni ha ya trase ade asundua na tena hase na CPP ba ye matem ho fo ba ye kwabra ni mu ya boni tu okro mu ma ni wu ya trase ya eno kotoy afa dia 1992 constitution ma ne koto aba ne mra ende bobu Mbrante kakra bi ni afa kure. Ya boy abo. Sankwa yomu dia. Hiri ni ha. Press ni ha. Soja ni ha. MP ni ha. DC ni ha.
And more on the story as a follow-up, we do have on the phone line ACP Ebenezer Labi. He is with the Goso Divisional Police. He's a commander there. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, can you tell us exactly when the police heard about the incident yesterday and what happened thereafter?
Are you asking about what happened?
Yes, yesterday's incident.
The event.
Yes.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I'm asking that when did the police hear about the incident and what happened thereafter?
Yeah, after the program, we were able to arrest 2 people out of 3 who destroyed some of the chairs before the event. We have 2 in our custody at the moment. We are looking for the other one to be arrested. Those arrested, one Amos Asantikora Anointing, 25 years, and one Isaac Akoboa, 21 years. God willing, Monday, they will be put before court.
Now,
that's what we have for you for now.
Okay, but when did the police service there hear about the incident?
We all know about Sankore. Sankore is a violent area. It was scheduled from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. So we're having a local police on the ground while we were mobilizing ourselves. By 6:30 a.m., the police assembled at Kukum for briefing. So we finished the briefing, 7 were to leave. Then we had there's a program going on at a limited registration center at Kukum, where the 2 strong parties were challenging each other. So we have to rush there. When we got there, it was alleged one party has gone to West Region to bring minors to come and register. So there was a huge and hot argument facing each other. We have to intervene before we proceed. So that delayed us a little. So when they started that train, not quite 3 minutes, police arrived and they ran away from the scene.
Now, I'm asking that because we just heard a story before we called you where the chiefs are asking for a military post in that very area. Is that that they've lost trust in the police there? What do you make of that?
I'm not hearing you well. The chiefs are praying for peace.
They're asking for a military post in that area. Is that to say that they've lost trust in the police, and what do you make of that? Because if there's police presence there and they believe in the police service, they wouldn't go to the extent of asking for a military post in that very area.
The line is not clear to me. If you can come louder.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now, I'm just saying that before we spoke to you, we aired a story where we have the chiefs calling or asking for a military post in that area. Well, I think, are you on the line, sir? We've lost ACP Ebenezer Labi. He is a commander for the Goso Divisional Police, and we're speaking to him on updates on the incidents that happened there. But as and when we reach him, we'll get back to him and speak to him. You're still watching Midday Live. Do stay with us. This is still Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. Let's go back to our earlier story and one of our headline stories where the chiefs and opinion leaders of the Eastern North and South districts in the Bonafo region have unanimously called for the establishment of a military post at Sankore to curb the recurrence of politically motivated violence in the area. Here's a report by Larry Pakwisi Moses.
The chiefs raised the issue at a meeting held to deliberate on the violent incident which occurred at the Bono Ahafo regional celebration of International Press Day anniversary that took place at Sankore. The paramountcies of Gwaso, Kukwum, and Kwapon were all represented at the meeting. The World Peace Day event was instituted to constantly remind mankind the world over on the need to treasure and uphold peace as a prerequisite for development and progress. The event was therefore scheduled at Sankore, which has been the hotbed of socio-political violence since 1992, to conscientize the people on the need to maintain peace for their socio-economic development. Commenting on the violent episodes, the chief of Sankore, Nana Ojedum Apia-Kubi, said, prior to the onset of the Fourth Republic in 1992, Sankore used to be a vibrant town for its agricultural activities like cocoa cultivation, oil palm production, and timber lumbering, among others. Today, he said, Sankore is a ghost town as all economic activities have ceased and replaced with protracted violence and misery. The chief stressed that government of the day has the machinery to arrest the violent incident, the failure of which will smack of political complicity and will leave them with no choice but to arm themselves in readiness for self-defense. Nana Ojedum Apia-Kubi also called on the government to impose a curfew at Sankore for effective monitoring of the hoodlums. The Sunyani Municipal Chief Executive, Evelyn Ama Richardson, who represented the Bono Afro Regional Minister at the meeting, could not hide her motherly tears when she contributed at the meeting. After the meeting, the chief joined the crowd that had been waiting for eyes to be addressed about the day's event. The Bono Afro Regional Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, Swala Abdullah Kwanda, shared the Peace Day message with the public. At the time of filing this report, the police in Gwaso have confirmed the arrest of 2 persons that triggered the violence at the Peace Day celebration. They are Amos Asari, aka Anointing, who was seen wielding the cutlass, and his accomplice, known only as Isaac. The police say the 2 are hardened criminals noted for series of robbery and rape cases.
Next, we have some business news.
The business news segment is brought to you by MTN, Universal Merchant Bank.
The Convention's People Party has described Ghana's trade agreements with China as one that is ill-informed and primitive. Speaking at the CPP celebration of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, party chairman Professor Edmond Dele maintained that if Ghana had followed the CPP self-reliance policy, the country would not be begging for aid.
Ghana recently signed a $2 billion bauxite barter agreement with China. The deal, christened the Master Project Support Agreement Facility, is for the construction of priority projects in Ghana by Chinese firm Sino Hydro Corporation. China's Sino Hydro Group Limited is expected to provide $2 billion of infrastructure, including roads, bridges, interchanges, hospitals, housing, rural electrification, in exchange for Ghana's refined bauxite. But the CPP clearly is unhappy with the agreement.
Nanado is pretty no aid philosophy. Beyond aid philosophy. And you are talking about giving China giving you $2 billion for our bauxite. Barter system. Primitive philosophy. Barter system.
Chairman of the CPP, Professor Edmond Dele, is optimistic if the self-reliance policies of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah were followed, the country would have been better off and not rely on foreign aid.
At the time that we started, we could have even beaten China, beaten Korea. If we had followed us self-reliance, let's rely on ourselves. We want to rely on ourselves. No nation can build Ghana. Ghanaians must take the lead. You must support Ghanaians to build this country. So going out with our cap in hand to beg for people to come and develop our country, we are only putting our country in jeopardy. Our people who will live after us are going to be paying debt. Is that what we want to do?
The CPP, celebrating the Founders' Day in honor of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, enumerated some of his visions, which included the industrialization of the entire Tema Township.
Nkrumah originated the Ghana Airways, the Black Star Line, which gave us pride beyond the means of transportation. He emphasized marine transport, to decongest our roads. He sought to harness the wicked and exploitative colonial railway system to build for us a robust and a reliable national railway system, cheaper, convenient, and faster.
Today marks the 109th birthday of the nation's founder, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Backward, never, in the name of...
And that story was to celebrate Dr. Kwame Nkrumah yesterday. You're still watching Midday Live. Next, we have sports with Yao Ofosulabi. And entertainment this afternoon, Nigerian superstar Dukule Gold is on tour promoting his sophomore album, About 30. In his first interview with the Ghanaian media, he touched on his personal life and upcoming concept here in Accra. Here are excerpts of the interview.
So you're dating right now?
Oh yeah, sure.
May we know who?
No, you didn't.
No, but we've heard rumors circulating.
I keep hearing.
Is it Simi?
I don't know. I'm not talking about that.
But is it Simi?
Let's just talk about my show, guys. I don't know.
I think I saw a performance of you guys. You know, you're a bit romantic on stage and all of that.
Everybody. I was romantic with Shay.
No, but you were very romantic with Simi. And you can see, you can tell the chemistry. The chemistry is there.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, don't lose my market again. All the fine girls in Ghana, we just want to be.
I know, but it's Simi. We all like Simi. I love Simi.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, I love the music. So you're in Ghana for a show.
Yeah.
When is the
show? Showcase. So it was supposed to be just meet and greet before, and then as we speak, the lineup is crazy. It looks like we're about to have a concert in like a small space, but I'm honored that people want to do this for me. It's amazing how people are responding to the show. Because I mean, it's not a territory I'm familiar with here, and then the love I've been getting so far is been amazing.
So what should we come expecting tomorrow?
I talk a lot.
You talk.
so we gist, and then you see. Because I came in my band, 79th Element, so we're performing all the songs live.
More stories this afternoon, and performers for the 4th episode of the Glow Mega Music Show have promised a great show. Nigerian music superstar Wizkid, techno and hitmaker Yemi Alade touched down at the Kotoka International Airport ahead of the hype show, and Yemi has been sharing her expectations.
Every day now
Our expectation ahead of tonight's show.
I'm excited to be here again, Accra. My expectations for tonight's show. You know how they do. First of all, I want to go chop better Ghanaian food that they come.
Some jollof.
Well, to be sincere, what I actually like whenever I come here is to have kontumre. Kontumre is my favorite. I like yam. So.
All right, and then, so we're talking about the energetic performance and the way you vibe with your choreographers and all that, and people are supposed to be expecting that.
Of course not. I'm here with my dancers and my musicians. The entire crew are here. Oh, my sister is here. Yes. I can't wait to see her.
All right, we'll find out where
guys, you have a few more hours to make sure you have secured your tickets. Like, if you don't have your tickets, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Right. Don't miss it. Come and sing Mama Die.
Every day now CCO. Every day now different special.
On that note, we end Midday Live, but a quick run through our headline stories for this afternoon. And Chiefs call for military post at Sankore in the Sunafo North and South districts of the Bunafo region to curb political violence. Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors calls on government to find mitigating solutions to fuel price hikes. Allied Health Professions Council want quick employment for their professionals. Kenya, kidney diseases take high toll on hundreds of sufferers. On international front, jihadists kill at least 12 villagers in Mozambique. I am Wendy Lai. Thank you so much for watching. News 360 is at 7. Till then, enjoy the rest of our programs. Thanks for watching.